Wake and bake. One who does not understand the true implications of this act may find himself overwhelmed by its powers. Yet this holy practice has a special place in every stoner's heart, for it can only be truly enjoyed if one forfeits his entire life energy and hopes to receive the blessing of the Za gods. For if one does not concede to the Za, I will be consumed by it. I have witnessed one too many proud, ignorant soldiers underestimate the wake and bake and end up overwhelmed by its mighty force. But if you're confused by my holy transcript, I'll put it in terms you might understand better. It's not a wake and bake if you don't fucking wake up. Dudes be out here talking about, ooh, I love waking and baking. It makes my whole day so much less stressful. Yeah, of course it does, you dingleBob, if all you do after is watch TikTok, order Uber Eats, fill your belly to the brim, and take a 3-hour nap. But some mofos still disrespect the holy practice by literally doing nothing with the extravagant mega high of the wake and bake. And yes, no matter what science says, I'm here to tell you getting high as soon as you wake up is a lot stronger and different than getting high, let's say, in the evening. And my theory is that right after waking up, your body and brain are not functioning at full capacity yet, and are weak against foreign substance attacks like THC. So when you inhale that beautiful Mary Jane right after waking up, your body's defense systems are down, leading to more of the THC slipping through to your brain, therefore getting suited as fuck. And since the Za ain't nothing but an amplifier of your senses, feelings, and thoughts, since waking up is hard to begin with, cause I don't know about you, but I personally gotta recite every damn inspirational Rocky Balboa quote to muster up the strength to get up in the morning. If you're high, that shit is like 10 times harder. And that's proven by most of these mofos who claim they like waking and baking. Dudes get high and just stare at the wall and watch the day go by. Like, there really are levels to this shit. And since your boy waked and baked every single day for a whole summer, I have gone through all of them and am qualified to tell you it starts at level 1. The couch potato. This is the state you're probably gonna be in for the first couple times you get high right in the morning. And it ain't nothing to be ashamed of, because those first times are like a learning experience. Once the baking is planned, when you go to sleep, it'll have you all excited like, oh boy, can't wait to get high as soon as I wake up and go on an adventure. But when the time comes and you smoke that exotic, you soon realize that this shit hits different. Not only are you baked out of your mind, you also feel like your eyelids have 10-pound weights on them. But even so, you will try your best to go on that high adventure you have been hyping up. But unfortunately, the most you can do is gather the strength to go to the kitchen and make a sandwich. Which after, you'll probably take that right back to your room, put on some Netflix or some, watch it for a couple minutes and realize, I'm not leaving this bed anytime soon, am I? And boom, you either fall asleep or lie in your bed watching Netflix like the potato you are for the whole high. But if you're like me and don't accept that as a successful and fun wake and bake, you'll do it again some other day, and this time you're better educated on the powers of the morning Za, which will lead you to level 2. I will persevere. This time, you know what to expect, and have mentally prepared for the tiredness and overall lack of motivation to do stuff by the wake and bake. So just like before, you decide to try the holy practice, but this time decide to brush your teeth and maybe take a shower before the bake. Just cause you know one of the hardest parts about getting up in the morning is the fact you can't just stand up and start your day. You gotta do your morning routine first. Anyway, now that you've completed the wake and bake and were smart enough to do a bit of your morning routine first, the 10-pound weights that were attached to your eyelids previously have now lightened up to about 4-pound weights. And although every fiber of your being is still telling you to go lie down, you fight through and attempt to start your day with something lightly productive, like going to the store or cleaning your room. And if you do end up going to the store like I did, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's a trap. Cause you will most likely find yourself admiring every food item your eyeballs gaze upon, and we all know when the munchies hit, well, you either rise to the occasion or you have a bad trip. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So you go back home, do your best impression of Nicocado Avocado, and find yourself watching YouTube or Netflix on your wretched bed again. Good try, but not quite the wake and bake epic adventure you were hoping for. But this time, you swear on your mama. Well, better not do that, but anyway, you swear that next time you will have an awesome wake and bake, which will lead you to level 3. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. You've had enough of this BS. You're done folding to the power of the Za and being that 1990s generic movie stoner who smokes grass, plays video games, and eats Doritos all day. So now, you do what you did previously, but instead of going to your local Wonderland 7-Eleven, you instead go to the gym or just do something productive that doesn't involve binge watching the new One Piece Netflix series. But this level is in reality quite subjective. It all depends on what your idea of a successful successful wake and bake is. For me, I'm happy with my wake and bake if after the high dissipates and reality starts to shape back in, I don't feel all hazy and sad from the fact that I did a wake and bake. This also means sometimes it's okay to hit that Mary Jane immediately after waking and just playing video games the entire time. If you plan a day like that ahead and enter the morning with no desire to do anything but lay on your couch and eat 50% off birthday cakes you got from the discount aisle at Walmart, then that's fine. One of my funnest and favorite high memories came from a wake and bake with Riz X, where immediately after waking we spontaneously decided to get faded, and after that we were a bit bored, so we decided to look at how much money we had in our bank balance, and well, things weren't looking too good, but we were able to scrape together $200 and went on Facebook Marketplace to search for fun items for the high mind. And oh boy, we sure did strike gold, because we found this guy selling an Xbox Series S with 2 controllers close to our area, so we pulled up, acquired the box, found a free trial for Xbox Game Pass, and played a bunch of split-screen games and ate McNuggets all goddamn day, which in my book has got to be a successful wake and bake, but it would have been an awful one if we hadn't planned ahead and occupied the day schedule with only 2 things in mind: smoke grass and have fun. But one thing I will say about the holy practice known as the wake and bake is that it's best enjoyed as a special occasion, and that's because them shits absolutely demolish your tolerance, and I speak from experience. We went from a bag lasting 1 week to 1 day and 3 days of waking and baking. Like, I don't know exactly why, but that shit sure isn't sustainable financially nor productivity wise. It also has to do with the fact when you wake and bake, you usually smoke throughout the whole day, but when you smoke up after a long and productive day of grinding, you only do so once or twice before you get tired and go to bed, giving your body ample time to recover from the THC. Think about it like this: if you wake and bake and then smoke throughout the day, that ganja is constantly building up, so your body never really has time to digest that THC through your system. But if you smoke only every 24 hours or so, you're giving your body time to recover and remove the za from your brain, making it so you don't have to smoke a whole spliff just to feel a little bit high. But shit, I'm not a scientist, so all this stuff might be BS, but I don't know, it kinda makes sense, doesn't it? You know, the line between a fun high and a you done high is very thin, and that shit is no joke. Sometimes all it takes is just one extra puff, and that's when I finally realized that dude was not talking about no Coca-Cola the drink. Wait, but I did buy this weed from him. I wonder if... No, wait, it can't be. Everybody stop right now! I think we're all smoking crack! Hey, yo, see, you got any more of that weed you gave me yesterday? Oh, it's really good shit. Yeah, I really like it. Hey, yo, I see you have some. Hey, yo, give me, I'll give you anything. I'll fucking suck your dick. And that's exactly why you can never trust a plug who also sells that Coca-Cola, if you know what I'm saying. But your weed being laced with a substance that'll change the chemistry of your brain and make the pursuit of your dreams and happiness into the pursuit of concentrated 1900s Coca-Cola and ruin your life forever is the least of your worries when you smoke up with a bunch of sad boys. Now, don't get me wrong, mental health is very important, and you should never keep everything inside because your loved ones want to help you. But bro, ever since Juice WRLD dropped Lucid Dreams, motherfuckers will find any reason to be depressed. I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. Yo, what's going on with you, bro? Like, you've been acting really sad as of late. You wouldn't understand. I'm depressed. There's just no point to anything. Wait, but you weren't depressed 2 days ago. Oh, you're on a sad boy phase. Sad boy? No! Oh, fuck, I guess I am. Yeah, bro, how about we go to Salamander's place, get obliterated, and play some Super Smash Bros. Instead of whatever the fuck you're doing here? Yeah, what am I doing here? Yeah, let's just get out of here.
1 hour later.
So, Ricky, you still sad? Nah, I'm having a blast. Wait, but you were saying something about, like, someone's shadows you were still seeing in your room? I don't want to talk about that. And that's the story of how we were able to stop Ricky from becoming a full-time sad boy, just in the nick of time. But besides almost losing a friend to the song Sad! There have been 2 extremely scary highs I have gone through. One was instigated by the popo, man, fuck the police, and the other was from the fear of losing money. my life. Let me set the scene for you. I'm in high school and I've smoked maybe 3 or 4 times ever, but the last time I did was months ago, so my tolerance was damn near at the level of smelling some grass and getting faded. Anyway, so I had a couple friends who have been asking me relentlessly to get some and get faded because they didn't know any plugs and really wanted to try it. So one weekend I decided to finally fulfill their request and hit up my homie Salamander and acquired the exotic. The weekend came and we found ourselves in my dorm room rolling a J, which, well, I had rolled it and it took me a while because my stats were low AF. Basically, I was out there trying to pick an expert level lock with 0 points in perception, dog. After going through 20 papers, the abomination was ready though, so we went deep into the local park and sparked it. Barely, because that shit had almost 0 airflow. I had to relight the damn thing after every puff. Yet that was definitely not even close to the worst part, because these motherfuckers were begging me to get the Zon in the first place, were scared shitless to get high, so I ended up smoking like 80% of the J myself, leaving me absolutely zoinked in a group where nobody else wasn't. So you can imagine I was feeling pretty betrayed, and also a bit scared, because if you've ever been obliterated in a group where no one else is, you know that you feel kind of like an alien abandoned by your comrades in a hostile planet, and that feeling was amplified by the fact that these friends of mine were kind of dickheads. Because after puffing down the J, we went to the local gas station to get some munchies, and of course I was fiending for some trans fat, so I asked them if they could go in there and bring me the stuff I wanted, and I'd of course pay them back. Pretty reasonable and easy, right? Being that I was the only one who was blasted and scared of getting caught. I guess fucking not, because these pussios who didn't even inhale the fucking weed told me that they wouldn't bring me anything if I didn't come in. Which, I mean, these days I wouldn't mind, but I was like 17 and it was a Friday night, the prime time for cop patrol, so I had no choice and went in there tweaking out of my mind like... Oh fuck, this place is full. Shit. Wait, it feels like they're all staring at me. No, I think I'm just high. Okay, let's just get out of here. I'm not gonna order anything. Okay, fine. Go to the corner. Hey, yo, bro, I'm gonna just take some chips and candy, okay? And can you give me the car keys so I can just wait it out in the car while you guys wait for your food? Yeah? No. What? Why? I'm not even gonna turn it on, bro. Hey, good, bro. I got an announcement to make. This motherfucker high as... Bro, shut the fuck up! That ain't funny. I'm baked as fuck, you pussy. Okay, but yeah, you're not getting the keys. So basically, these scumbags just decided to torture me, and because I had to wait for their food anyway, I went to order some too, and as I was doing so, 3 girls from my school approached me at the counter and were like, yeah, I'll have Hey, see, I heard you guys smoked some weed, yeah? Well, no, I'll have the dumplings, yeah. But yeah, we definitely didn't. We're all super duper sober bober. Yeah, you did. Dwayne said so. You got some left? You can come to our place if you have some. We really want to get faded too. And in that moment, I had to pause and rethink my whole life, because I did not in fact have any left, because I wasted it all on my rinky-dinky sausage party bum fun enjoying friends. Which, if I would have had some left, I could have gone to these girls' crib and smoked up with 3 hot chicks. But no, I donated all the weed to dumber, and me, the dumbest. And after that realization of alliances, I changed the famous saying, bros before hoes, to bros who aren't hoes before bros. And I live by that to this day. But the scariest part was yet to come, because as I was waiting for my food posted up at the ice cream station, a cop walked in. And that just set my tweak meter to a whole new level. I felt my heart rate spiked to like 200, and I was shaking, just begging God for him not to walk towards me, but he fucking did. I avoided eye contact at all costs, but it seemed he had his eyes set on me. He got closer and closer until he was standing right in front of me. Fuck, why is he here? He knows I'm faded, doesn't he? Oh shit, I'm fucked. I'm going to juvie. This is over. Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. Yes, officer? Could you move out of the way, please? I want some ice cream. Yeah, of course. My bad. Thanks. Nothing better than some good old Ben & Jerry's to complement a sour diesel joint. Shit, fucking fire. Okay, the last part maybe didn't happen, okay? Anyway, the build-up, the weed, the cop, everything combined gave me some of the worst anxiety I've ever had, but the relief when he just wanted some ice cream was equally amazing. I had gotten away from this horrid situation, and once we got our food, we went to a hangout spot where I got really cold and tweaked again. Overall, I'd rate the high a 7 out of 10 just because it was eventful and I got a nice adrenaline dump, but it would have been a damn 9.5 if your boy could have gone to the girl's crib and got faded with some hot females instead of my pussy friends, goddamn. Although this high was quite stressful, it did have its highlights, unlike my most scary high. We've all had a bad high before, and for some of us, we've had many. But what if I told you, you don't even know what that means? At least before you hear about the day I almost died while bugging off the Zaza. I woke up happier than usual because it was a special day. To be exact, it was my special day. My birthday. And I had planned a great celebration in my name. I was going to get wasted in my hometown with my old school friends. Because, well, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I mean, I was turning 18, so you know your boy had to throw a killer party. Okay, to be honest, the party was pretty lame, cause my friends were either soy boys in a relationship or just plain gay, cause I told them multiple times, bring some hoes. The problem was, I had lost all my female connections in the area over the 2 years I was away, and they knew this. So how you gonna pull up to the party knowing your boy is back from the gulag and it's his birthday talking about,
bro, where the hoes at? This party lame as hell.
I told you bring the hoes, any hoes, yet you come here with a 6-pack and a vape. What you talking about where the hoes at? Look in the mirror, fool. You the hoe. You the hoe. Anyway, so we're just chilling at my lame party when my boy Ricky hits me up like, hey bro, I saw you in town again. Wanna smoke some gas? And even though I do have an obligation to stay at my own birthday function, I decided to disband. Hey, everybody, thank you all for coming, but I'm gonna have to wrap this party up cause it's getting kinda late.
Bro, it's 11 p.m. Party's just starting. Let's drink some more beers, eh?
Yeah, it's only 11 p.m. Let's drink some more beers.
Get the fuck out of my house, Charles. So I get these soy boys out my house. Like, sorry, but if you can't even muster one single female on a 2-week notice to come to a house party, are you really even a man? But yeah, so here I am, half drunk, walking to the European version of 7-Eleven when I get a text from my boy Ricky.
Hey man, you wanna come roll with us on this drop-off? We can blaze up in the car on the way there.
And I don't really want to get involved with any dealings of illegal substances, but like, I was pretty much at the 7-Eleven already and really wanted to get lit. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I get to the parking lot and I see the most rusty ricer stolen from the junkyard looking car, blasting gangster rap from the speakers like it was a 50 Cent concert. I jump in the car and see my boy Ricky, but also 2 of my friends from elementary school. They discussing this business whilst me and Ricky blazing in the back, when I noticed the driver seems kind of off. So I asked Ricky, hey bro, is that man good? Seems a little off.
Yeah, no, he good. Just had a couple beers.
Bruh. So I just found out that the driver is a teensy bit drunk. But I'm already here and we're blazing, so what am I gonna do, leave? It was about 10 minutes of chatting and smoking when the time came to roll out. And bro, when I say this car was the biggest piece of shit that has ever grazed public roads, I'm not exaggerating. The freaking bottom of the car was vibrating and shaking so much, it felt like we was having an earthquake. And on top of it, the engine was making these clunking noises, and the exhaust was spitting fumes like it was 1920. Even though I was high as a kite, it wasn't just the Zaza making me paranoid, because this guy was driving like he was on a NASCAR track. But the one thing he did constantly that got me praying to our Lord and Savior was taking every corner and curve on the opposite side of traffic. Even though we lived in a small town and it was midnight, if even just one car would have been on those dark and twisty roads that day, it would have meant certain death for all of us. You know those moments where you're like, oh Lord, please, I will never hang out with these thugs again and I will never smoke the good. Just save me from this death. That was me, but like times 10 at least. Anyway, what felt like an eternity of driving, we got to the drop-off, and it was just some more wannabe thug gangsters interacting with our group of wannabe thug gangsters. That interaction took about 10 minutes until we started driving back, and I was just praying the whole way to whoever would listen. Gandhi, Buddha, Michael Jackson, Pop Smoke, Jiraiya, anybody and everybody. Somehow we got back in one piece. Can't say the same words about the car though, cause when we pulled up to the 7-Eleven again and he turned it off, it made a weird noise. So he tried activating the shit box again and it wouldn't. So yeah, sucks for him I guess. So I say my goodbyes to the top fuck gangsters of my hometown, and all I can think about is, bro, what the hell happened to my old homies? Everybody's either a soy boy or a drug dealer, no in between. Guess the moral of the story is, chase your dreams, I guess. Oh, and don't go into cars that look like they were last maintenanced in 1955, cause there's a good chance that this'll happen.
Zyn, the all-new and improved nicotine device. You see, unlike before with vape companies who sold you a product that was near perfect, Zyns are perfect. I mean, just look at Tucker Carlson, who interviewed Putin while going double upper decky, triple lower decky the entire time, and you didn't even notice.
Перестаньте виставлять на показ Зин, передайте мне 2, хто би я мог как минимум удвоить верхнюю палубу.
But besides that largely unconfirmed dialogue, I mean it when I say Zyns are the future of nicotine addiction. And unlike you Americans who might just be hearing about the Zyn, me, a veteran snooze-stuffing European, will tell you that this is merely the tip of the iceberg. Because when an American first tries Zyn, it usually plays out like this. So I just put it under my gum? Yeah, that's called going upper decky, bro. Alright, if you say so. Okay, so what am I supposed to, what's this? This is the buzz? I'm a bit... I gotta sit down. Yeah, bro, you just went to Upper Decky Capital. You're gonna be buzzing like a bee. But to me and every other Northern European, the Zyn seems like a product that should be sold at the baby aisle at Target. And no, that is in no way to brag. I am ashamed and quite literally making this video to warn you guys. Because all of this pouch stuff seems to be new, so you might not even know about the 5 levels of Zyn addiction that will be waiting for you once you get to level 1. It's called Zyn, bro. It's not even that bad. You have been introduced to Zyn, and hopefully you declined, but most likely you didn't, and now you're experiencing a buzz unlike you've never had before. Since it's your first Zyn, this will be what you'll set as a baseline for your addiction in the future, because as we know, the first high is always the craziest. But with Zyn, the guy who gave you it is probably already muttering something about, yeah bro, it's like the perfect nicotine delivery system. You know, Nick increases your testosterone and boosts your focus, and you know, Zyn isn't even that harmful for you, bro. And well, you just made your first mistake by actively opening the floodgates for these words to penetrate your ear hole and reach the cool part of your brain, which is now telling you, bro, it's not right-wing propaganda, Zyns are the future, and you know, it's not even that bad for you, man. Which, unfortunately, now, bro, you're moving on to level 2. I'm responsible. I'll take the free milligram one, please. Thank you. Free MG? Shit, bro, my first time was a 35 MG, motherfucker. So, you have your own Zyn, and feel inclined to make it an integral part of your personality, so whenever someone asks, hey yo, what's that? You will happily give the factory preset AI-generated voice line of, bro, you haven't heard? This is Zyn. It's like the future, bro. You wanna try one? And congratulations, you are now actively participating in the new Juul pandemic, and doing exactly what they want you to do. Not just get addicted, get everybody else too. Only problem is, you are slowly starting to realize that going double upper decky, triple lower decky isn't really doing it for you anymore. And there's only so much room in your gums, so now you move on to level 3. I'll take the 6mg one, please, thank you. Welcome to the pinnacle of Zyn, a true Zyn head, a maestro at the upper and lower decky. You must now continue to spread the word of Zyn, all while slowly realizing your gums are kind of coarse, and that every day you go to sleep, your main motivation for the coming morning seems to be, oh, can't wait to get that first Zyn lit, baby. Which, once you make it here, you can confidently call yourself a Zyn head, and find yourself popping them every chance you get. I mean, you wake up, Zyn, eat breakfast, Zyn, go to school or work, Zyn. Zinning has really taken over your life, man. God damn. Regardless, everybody cool is sinning, so it's okay. It's the future, right? Well, here's where you might do a bit more research into the topic and realize nicotine pouches have been around for decades, and that in places like Russia and Sweden, dudes have literally died from sinning, or well, Siberia Pablo extra stronging too hard. Cause you see, 6mg is actually like really light. I mean, in Estonia, the most commonly used product is 35mg. Yeah, almost almost 12 times stronger than the base model sin. So you either realize you're on a fucking slippery slope crafted and marketed by big tobacco and stop, or you keep going and find yourself on level 4. You have Velo. You might not specifically get Velo. You have Velo is just a marketing slogan I saw they're running in Poland. Anyway, now you're not really cool anymore. I mean, everybody is sinning and now you're just kind of the guy who took it too far. But I guess you're kind of in my shoes, eh? You feel like you know more than the rest, that sin is for babies. On top of that, you still haven't dealt with your crippling nicotine addiction. If a free MG sin will get someone who has never done nicotine buzz like a bee, the average Velo will in fact make him vomit and feel sick for 30 minutes. Now for real, like back in the day, a big challenge some degenerate high schoolers in my country used to push to their friends was something like, put this 30 mg pouch upper decky right now, and if you can manage for 5 minutes, I'll give you $10. And the outcome was usually the challengee puking and feeling sick in about 1. Unlike me though, I held a 35 mg for 5. And I wasn't even challenged. I'm just born to be a sinner, I guess. Anyway, there is one more level, which most people probably won't get to, because it's kind of getting ridiculous, but level 5, Siberia Max 100 mg fucking annihilator. At this point, you might as well just move to Sweden, bro, because the people in the US, man, they just don't get you. Ah, you're sinning, eh? Try this, it's a bit stronger. Alright, why not? Okay, this is... Couldn't handle the man shit, eh? Hey, you good, bro? I'll be on my way then. After realizing you literally can't exist without Zin, you might want to quit, but it's basically impossible. Well, not impossible, but usually the types of people who go over level 3 are the types of people who say stuff like, you know man, I'll quit when I want to. Which means never, or until their doctor says they are literally dying because of it. Unfortunately, the largely unknown health-related side effects have made sinning seem like it can't be that bad. Well, since I'm a certified sinner, I'll walk you through the average day of a veteran pouch addict. First things first, of course, you gotta wake up, and most civilized people, including me, wait at least till after eating breakfast to go upper decky. Although that doesn't mean there isn't a voice in your head every single day egging you on to sin as soon as your fucking mind becomes conscious. Shit, sometimes I even be seeing that bitch in my sleep, which makes it even more tempting, cause now I don't even get a choice in what I think about in the morning. The sin literally won't let me be unaddicted even in my fucking dreams. Talk about free advertising, goddamn. Anyway, once you sin in the morning, your first lit is usually a non-productive one, so you kinda just scroll your phone and chill on the couch. I like to look at the first sin as my only entertainment pouch for the day, and the rest are just kinda there to help me focus and get my shit done. Also, after multiple upper deckies and lower deckies, your decky gets more and more coarse, and the sin less sinny, and at some point you get really tired and realize, oh shit, I gotta eat too, because you can't hold back your hunger with sin forever. Because eventually, your body will be like, I don't know if you've noticed, bro, but, we're kind of dying here. And so, you get a solid belly full, but not because you were hungry, more like you wanted to go double upper decky, but you knew it would just make you sick with an empty stomach. But sometimes, you see, you feel bad about your sin addiction, so you Google if you should stop and systematically ignore all the cons and just end up focusing on, it's not that bad, bro. For me, what always brings me back is the focusing and relaxation properties of the Zin. When I'm off the stuff, I feel like I need to rest more. And for example, when I broke my back, I didn't sin for like a month because I was just resting. Now that I'm back at full swing though, every time when my body says, yo bro, let's take a break, I'm like, break, yes of course. You mean double upper decky? No, what I mean, you wanna go crazy tonight. Double upper decky, triple lower decky, shall we? And so I pop it and continue on with whatever the fuck I'm doing. I guess what I'm trying to say is though that sins are bad, like really bad, but not so much because of the health implications. Well, they might be, we just don't know yet. Anyway, once you get into the habit of equating sinning with productivity like I have, it's very, very hard to quit. Because the grind never stops. But does that mean the sin never stops? No, it can't. Just don't ever do it, bro. You'll be so much better off. And in like 3 years, when everyone realizes that this is just Joule 2.0, you can proudly say, I didn't fall for it.
Vaping versus smoking. Both activities extremely similar to the naked eye, yet in reality, these lung-destroying practices are quite different. The same way smoking za used to be a very niche thing, mostly done by hippies in the 1960s to 1970s, so was vaping in the 2000s to early 2010s. Yet both smoking and vaping slowly but surely took over the world, to where nowadays you'll be walking down the street and see a dude puffing on a strawberry ice guacamole stick on one side, and on the other see a bunch of college kids sitting on a bench eyes squinting like they got hit with a flashbang, holding the Teenage Mutant Ninja card screaming blinker! And although a lot of times a vapor can also be a smoker and the other way around, I'm here to try and figure out which one of these practices is definitively superior to the other, so you can once and for all say to the opposing faction, at least I don't vape, or at least I don't smoke. So let's get started with the first category, and that is the effect. This is probably the most important category, because if you're going to damage your lungs and throat by inhaling a foreign substance, it better be at least a fun time. Which I think we can all agree, this is where smoking and vaping are completely different. With vaping, the high you get, if you can even call it that, is a buzz in your body, lightheadedness, bit of an increase to your social battery, and of course a small dopamine boost. But here's the kicker, you only feel this effect like the first couple times you do it, and later mostly only in the morning on your first puffs. So the action of vaping just kind of becomes a mindless habit where you're doing it not for the effect, but just because your body is telling you, hey, it's been like 30 minutes, you should really go and rip that 99 Nick strawberry mango punch. Whereas the high you get from the grass is actually what you're inhaling it for, and although the effects vary from person to person, they usually consist of better mood, increased appetite aka the munchies, laughter, the increased significance of your thoughts, creativity, laziness, sleepiness, etc. But also, these effects are felt for much longer, of about 2 to 4 hours, compared to vaping, which is literally like 10 seconds. So if you look at it straight up, then smoking absolutely takes this category with ease. But then again, for people who are prone to getting paranoid and need everything planned out, the high from the za isn't guaranteed to be enjoyable, cause I mean, you can just green the fuck out. Whereas with vaping, you can't really get a bad trip, cause I mean, there is no trip. You're just sitting puffing on your mango stick doing whatever you're doing. But all in all, I'ma still go with the za on this one. So 1-0 smoking. Now let's look at the cost. Whether you want to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals that taste like strawberries or the devil's lettuce, it's gonna cost you. But the question is, which one is more expensive at every level of consumption? Well, let's look at it. Level 1 for vapors would be you just buy a dispo every week or so, which comes out to about $20 to $40 a month. And level 1 for smokers, I'd say it's about the same if you just blaze up on the weekends. So far, they're tight on cost, but now if you move up to level 2, which I think for vaping, it now indicates you're addicted and spending anywhere between $80 to $100 on dispos a month. For the za, level 2 would be smoking up once or twice every night at the end of your day, which although you're technically smoking every day, I don't think you'll be spending more than $100 a month. So looks like smoking is edging it out. Well, that's until the next level, where most vapors probably buy themselves a box mod, which is the equivalent of buying a car instead of taking a taxi everywhere. And on the other end, here's where smoking za can get a bit more expensive. At level 3, you blazing 24/7, and you're high not just at the nighttime when you're done with your day, but also when you're going through your day. And because of that, your tolerance has gone up a lot, to the point you having to spend over $200 a month just to continue your za smoking, which don't let it get that far. Please, it's really not worth it. And at level 3 vaping, because you can just get a box mod eco nick machine, your costs ain't really go up that much. Shit, it might have even gone down. So basically, at the higher echelon of being a nick fiend, it's much cheaper than being a 24/7 high stoner, which would mean vaping wins, right? Well, technically yeah, but to be honest, is it really a good thing you can puff on your lung cancer strawberry ice machine for so cheap? I don't think so, and honestly, I'm kinda happy about how if you smoke up 24/7, your tolerance will evolve to a point you have to drop a bag every month just to keep up with your dependency. That being said, I'ma have to leave it at a tie here. 2-1 smoking grass. Now it's time for a
addictiveness. I think this one's a no-brainer. Nicotine is obviously more addictive, right? Well, yeah, but there are some more aspects to this comparison, like the fact even if you're completely addicted to Nick, you can go about your everyday life just the same, cause it doesn't make you slower mentally, nor lazy, nor paranoid. It's just slowly but surely giving you lung cancer. But with Za, if you really start abusing that shit, it'll affect your everyday life, cause it can lower motivation, make you less driven, slower mentally, and hazy. But all of that is only if you let yourself get that far, which is much harder than with Nick. Cause the Za is just less addictive than the mango stick, meaning with vaping it can literally take just one puff to get you hooked, but with the Za it's more like an experience. So although you might have a great time your first high, you won't be in the school bathrooms the next day like, "Yo, you think you can give me a couple puffs off that? Haven't hit anything in hours. Really? Give me that!" Okay, it's not that bad, but be wary. Nicotine fiends. They'll do anything for a puff off that elf bar. For real. Anyway, this point goes to the grass yet again because of its much less addictive nature. Free one, smoking. But maybe this next category will ignite a comeback for vaping. Availability. Nick sticks are sold everywhere, from gas stations to smoke shops to some grocery stores. And on the other hand, the Zaza, if you're in the United States, where let's be honest, you probably are, you can get them at dispensaries or your local Pablo Escobar, the plug. Which unfortunately, dispensaries are more of a luxury that only legal state citizens in the US are afforded, and for the rest of us, we have to deal with the lawless, sometimes sleazy creatures called plugs. I mean, for real, why the fuck do I, a law-abiding citizen, have to deal with criminals on a weekly basis just because I wanna relax and eat some double-stuffed Oreos on a Friday night? But if I wanna get shit-faced drunk and go outside with the homies committing 3 counts of disrupting the peace, 4 counts of destruction of public property, and 58 counts of,
Yo, what's that guy looking at? He got a problem?
then that's totally fine. So I think we can all agree vaping takes this one. Free 2. Now time for a category which will either tie it up or secure the major Tate W for smoking, and that is the community. Vape Nation versus yeah man. Or at least that's the stereotype. In reality, it ain't really like that. Although from my experience, vapors are more extroverted because they're always vaping in a circle in the damn bathroom, chit-chatting about their flavors. And smokers are more introverted and chill, who would rather sit down and play some modded Minecraft with the homies than go to the club. Oh, and if you're looking for a place where you can find more people like that, then why not join the Itscbdbro Discord? We also just hit 5k members, so join the revolution, the weed revolution. Anyway, this could be biased because I'm a smoker myself, but I personally think the Zaza community is better than the vaping. Although I really don't like grass NPCs who make the Za their whole personality, these dudes are pretty easily spottable and avoidable. But I mean, vapors got the same thing. Imagine standing in a circle, everybody puffing on their dispo, and then some dude pulls out the Vaporizer Ultra 3000i Max, fully equipped with 8 flavors, a touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. I think the exact same thing that I do with grass NPCs. That's a bit too much, man. Anyway, 4-2. Smoking wins. But hey, that might just be mine, Itscbdbro's opinion. So comment down which of these health deteriorating activities you prefer. And see ya in the next one. Nicotine, the only highly addictive substance besides alcohol and caffeine that the world government is cool with. And although nowadays we know smoking/vaping literally kills you, we still let it slide because, well, money. But nicotine addiction isn't as obvious as, I don't know, crack addiction for example. So how exactly do you determine if you have a problem? And if so, how serious should you take it? Well, the easiest way to tell if you're addicted is obviously if you own your own vape, or just the nicotine is in your everyday routine, meaning you wake up, eat breakfast, vape, go to work, vape, drive home, vape. But if you fall into this category, you probably already know you're addicted, but el nicotino doesn't always make it so obvious. From my experience, I've found that it low-key has a mind of its own, and when it enters your system, it instantly starts rizzing up your brain, firstly giving you the buzz, and after that, it'll curl up all close to you and 15 minutes later whisper, "Hey, That buzz was pretty nice, right? You should buy a vape.
And depending on your mental fortitude, you either do what it says instantly or you fight it. But the more you consume Nick, the stronger and smarter that little voice will get. Cause it'll start analyzing your brain and giving you suggestions based on where you last got that buzz. So if you go to a party and at that party do some vaping, next time when you're invited, the little voice will tell you, ooh, a party. That's the place where we get to vape without feeling bad about it. Cause I mean, everybody's doing it anyway. And from there, you'll become what I call a social vapor, which is someone who only does it at gatherings, parties, get-togethers, etc. by just asking for others to pass their vape. But being a social vapor doesn't mean you're addicted, unless you find yourself going to these gatherings for the sole purpose of getting that sweet, sweet buzz. We've determined that being a social vapor doesn't instantly make you addicted, so what does then? Well, probably when you get to the point where instead of hoping that someone has a Nick stick in the group, you don't risk it and buy your own to take with you. This might seem innocent enough at first, but ask anybody who is a Nick fiend and they'll tell you that you start being addicted when you buy your own vape, even if it is just for that one night out. Yet most people don't realize this at first, because as I said before, nicotine is one smooth-ass criminal. It is a master of deceiving its victims with lies like, you're not addicted, it's just one vape. You're not addicted, look at Johnny, he's puffing an F-bar 24/7. Now that's addicted. Worst part is, most dudes only realize they're being deceived when it's too late. Well, not too late, it's never too late to quit, but when you're on that physical addiction pack, it's gonna be way harder compared to if you're only mentally addicted. And if you don't know the difference between mental and physical addiction, then don't worry, it's quite simple. Physical addiction is when your body starts dysfunctioning due to the absence of the substance, aka nicotine, it's used to getting daily, which basically means headaches, vomiting, dizziness, depression, lack of motivation, trouble focusing, etc. Mental addiction is what most people have. It's just your brain telling you to go get some nicotine in your system for whatever reason it comes up with. For me, it usually has to do something with, you had a hard day, I think you deserve a break. With a vape. Or, oh boy, we got a long day ahead of us. I think some nicotine would really help us through it, don't you think? And you wanna know the worst part? It actually scientifically does make working and concentrating easier. Yeah, here I am talking so much shit about vaping, yet nicotine itself is not actually bad. It's how we get it in our system that's harmful for us. There's been a bunch of studies showing that nicotine helps with accuracy, maintaining attention, fine motor skills, and short-term memory, but only when you have it in your system. Basically meaning nicotine is a lot like caffeine, the only difference being you can drink a cup of coffee made with natural beans and reap the benefits for a while. But with nicotine, you either have to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals, stuff nickel pouches under your gums, or smoke a cig, which is like insta-cancer. Well, all of them give cancer, but cigs are the most lethal. That being said, nicotine is still a highly addictive substance, and when you start incorporating it into your daily routine, it's gonna become a necessity very quickly. And although caffeine is similar in nature, getting addicted to it isn't as fast of a process. Also, unlike nicotine, which for 99.99% of people is an unhealthy habit, drinking 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day is linked to a lower likelihood of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver and endometrial cancers, Parkinson's disease, and depression. So if you're consuming it in moderation, it can actually be beneficial. Anyway, we've determined that nicotine is a sly fox, understood the differences between physical and mental addiction, but also learned that nicotine itself isn't actually bad. Rather, it's the way we consume it and its addictive nature that's not very good. That being said, if you're getting buzzed from a device you yourself bought, then I think it's safe to say you're addicted to some regard. But now a new question arises. How addicted are you? And I think to answer that, we're gonna have to bust out the greatest video format ever created in the history of man. The 3 levels of nicotine addiction. Level 1. Social vapor. As we discussed earlier, at this point, you kinda just vape on night outs or when you hang out with your friends, but that doesn't mean you're not addicted, it means you're only slightly so, and just equate socializing with vaping. Which, if you're able to keep it this way, you'll be fine, and if you ever decide that, nah, I don't wanna quit hanging out with friends with vaping, you can quit relatively easy. Difficulty, 3 out of 10.
Yo, what's up?
Give me a fucking puff! Level 2. Dispo fiend. You couldn't resist the buzz and went ahead and started getting your own dispos. Now you're way more fucked than before cause nicotine is in your daily schedule, so your body is starting to get used to it always being available when needed. Depending on how long you keep daily puffing will determine how hard it is for you to quit, but on average, if you've been hitting it for a couple weeks, I'd say difficulty level 6.5 out of 10. Pretty hard. But an easy strategy to try is if you're not a coffee drinker, start being one. Basically, if you're struggling to go completely cold turkey, instead of a morning rip, fuck? Try a morning brew. I know substituting one addiction for another doesn't sound that good, but as I said earlier, having 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day is actually healthy. That's also why this method only works if you're not already a caffeine fiend, because if you are, this won't really do much. Level 3. Why are you talking to me? Help me find my vape! Or I'm gonna fucking die! Oh, you're a fiend, a pirate, a capitalist for that Nick. You've completely handed over your life to the substance, meaning you don't even try to fight it anymore. Your brain says, get some Nick, and you grab one of your 13 dispos or your prized possession box mod and rip until you feel kinda shitty. Difficulty quitting 9 out of 10, only cause I've met a person who literally uses nicotine pouches like it's a fucking oxygen tank and he's 1,000 feet underwater. Meaning, mans wakes up, puts one under, and then throughout his entire day, instead of alternating between having one between his gums and not having one, the instant he takes it out, he puts a new one in. This dude once tried to quit cold turkey, and I shit you not, 4 hours later, he was experiencing headaches, dizziness, vomiting. That's just sad, man, for real. So to answer the question of if you're addicted to nicotine is, well, if you're already asking that, then you probably are. But hopefully you were able to identify where you stand currently and use this video to realize that you're slightly addicted and better to quit now than have it be way harder in the future, or that you've already moved up the ladder and need to take action now before you get to the point of the nicotine pouch guy I told you about.
You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, well, sorry bro, there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some... What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah. Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's... Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy. Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory settings, like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first Benjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, it changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too, and the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old Benjamin. There really ain't a better on-the-go, fast and easy way to get faded. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears. Dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens and I can't even do shit cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first Benjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the thaw out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber DamianLuck925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is one blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, you know, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the weed, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I'd take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one. You too, man.
Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then?
Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up to the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here. So I went back to the crib, Benjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker, my very first hit. But since I had never smacked a pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled. But since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well, fuck. I was supposed to do a blinker, and went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change that dark blue. Do things has changed career. Imagine copying another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the 9 tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the Benjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the Benjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds and not blinkers. January 1st, 2014, there is a line of people in front of a store in Denver, Colorado. Time goes by and they finally open, which then a man walks in and buys the first ever legal recreational bag of weed in the US and gets absolutely obliterated. And I'm pretty sure no one expected this event to bring forth one of the fastest growing industries in the United States. From being known as the murder drug in India to going to your local dispensary and buying a $80 bag of banana strawberry pudding flavored weed, this is the story of how the ZA went from illegal to a projected $100 billion industry by 2028. And it all started in the early 1900s. The initial regulation of cannabis in the United States came with the enactment of the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. There is a widespread belief that the decision to outlaw cannabis was driven by racial motivations, for you see, during the early 1900s, a growing influx of Mexican immigrants into the US prompted a shift in media discourse towards portraying the ganja as a dangerous substance, leading to the implementation of stricter drug and cannabis laws. Media reports even went as far as labeling marijuana as the murder drug. Yeah, bro, not meth and not coke, weed was the murder drug.
What are you doing, bro? Smoking that murder drug.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, man, it makes you violent and literally go insane.
Oh, damn, I'll put it away. Thanks for warning me. Nah, you good, just don't do it again. What's that?
This? Don't worry, this is just crack.
Also, during this time, newspapers frequently circulated assertions linking marijuana use to mental illness, promiscuity, and violent behavior. These claims significantly deterred recreational marijuana use among the majority of Americans, despite the substance not being widely recognized at the time. Which, my favorite of the bunch is definitely violent behavior. I just can't deny that every time I smoke a doozy at the end of my day, I get this sudden rage, and I just start fucking going apeshit. That's probably also a big reason why Bob Marley was such a war activist and always propagating rage and hatred.
Disclaimer, that was all sarcasm.
Anyway, later on, John Ehrlichman, or whatever the fuck his name is, a senior advisor to Nixon, was quoted as saying, well, the quote is pretty long and boring, so I'll just summarize it. Pause the video if you want to see the full version.
Did we know we were finessing the public about weed? See, of course, dog. But you gotta understand, bro. We did it for America. We got the public to associate hippies with weed and blacks with heroin. Then we criminalized the shit out of it and went full commando on them. We talking Rambo. We talking death to the chopper. Shit, we went full D-Day on them motherfuckers, man. We hit so many damn licks. Shit was kinda ridiculous.
This quote was kinda the catalyst of the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, which was the consolidation of over 200 previous drug laws into a single statute governing the production and distribution of specific substances. Under the Controlled Substance Act, drugs were categorized into 5 schedules based on their potential for abuse and medical utility. This streamlined the process of drafting and amending laws to encompass entire groups of drugs rather than addressing each one individually. Schedule 1 drugs, the most rigorously regulated, were classified as having no recognized medical value, so obviously medical marijuana must have been like the lowest schedule, right? Wrong! Despite evidence indicating a lower risk of abuse and clear medical benefits, marijuana was still placed under Schedule 1. Research has demonstrated its effectiveness in treating conditions such as AIDS, cancer, epilepsy, and various other medical ailments. But I guess Congress was still like,
it's not the Lord's loud. It's the devil's lettuce.
Since its initial prohibition, there have been ongoing movements advocating for the legalization of cannabis, which in the 1970s pressure to legalize weed intensified in California. Proposition 19 aimed to legalize the grass and was introduced on the ballot in 1972, but garnered only 33% of the vote, so it failed for now. The push for legalization has primarily focused on 3 distinct products: CBD, medical marijuana, and everybody's favorite, recreational marijuana. So finally in 1996, California became the pioneering state to overturn the prohibition of weed by legalizing medical marijuana, despite conflicting with the federal law, brah. Subsequently, in 2012, Colorado and Washington became the first states to legalize recreational weed use. Oh yeah.
Yo, bro, did you hear? Weed is finally legal.
Really?
Yeah, bro, I just bought this from a store.
Shit is wild.
So you're telling me if I went down to my underground farm, harvest my 20 or so pounds of weed, then go to the university campus, set up a weed lemonade stand, and sell all of my lemonades to the students, I'm not a drug dealer and just a businessman?
Nah, I think you can like have a couple grams, and your operation is still, well, not gonna lie, bro. I got a wire, and the FBI should be kicking your door in right about...
FBI, open up!
Which brings us to today, where the za is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, and because of that, there really isn't a lot of research on it. Between 2000 and 2018, $1.56 billion was allocated to cannabis research, with half of this sum dedicated to investigating the potential adverse effects of the drug in recreational use. This disproportionate allocation meant that understanding the harms of weed received 20 times more funding than any other area of research, while only a fraction, less than $5 million, was directed towards enhancing our understanding of its therapeutic application. In 2018 though, the Farm Bill legalized CBD throughout the US, as long as it followed the rules of staying below 0.3% THC, which this Farm Bill turned out to have a shit ton of legal loopholes, making the sale of real weed online completely legal and possible. More on that later. Anyway, because of the lack of research and, well, frankly, awful regulations, we are currently in the wild west of the cannabis industry. You might assume buying weed from a big brand is safer than, let's say, your friendly neighborhood plug, and in some cases it might be, but a lot of times your plug is selling the same shit a dispensary is, just the dispensary is putting it in a fancy bag. Even worse, there's a big issue with sprayed weed, which basically means bud that is artificially flavored in a machine to give the illusion of it being some exotic Havana pack, when in reality it's just a mid sprayed with banana flavor. So you're telling me this eighth cost $100 because it was grown and harvested in Uganda, Africa, right next to the exotic banana farms, and that's why it's banana flavor? Yup. Then why is there a spray bottle right there labeled banana?
Why are you asking so many questions, man? Are you a cop?
What? No.
Guys, get over here. We gotta kill this guy.
But you can't fully blame the growers and dispensaries for this. The problem is the regulations and taxes that are put on these products are so hefty it makes turning a profit really hard. Basically, if your manufacturing cost isn't like at least 10 times less what you're selling it for, you're kinda screwed. There's also a multi-billion-dollar industry that spawned from the 2018 Farm Bill called the derivative industry. And if you don't know what derivatives are, they're basically weed, but sometimes altered chemically, like for example HHC, which is just THC but with an extra hydrogen molecule. The most insane derivative is THCA though, which is quite literally just weed, only in its normal state before you heat it, it isn't. It's only after when you light it that shit converts to regular old, get you smacked like a penguin THC, which, you know, unless your main method of getting high is sticking the nug up your ass. What I'm saying is, THCA is in every sense just THC when you are using it for the purpose of getting faded, which you probably are. But just because we are currently in the wild west of the weed industry doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. More and more countries are legalizing and propelling weed further and further away from the dark shadow it used to be under. Germany is legalizing on April 1st, 2024, Spain has social cannabis clubs, the Netherlands just legalized, Canada legalized, etc. It seems every year that goes by, more and more countries are legalizing. And especially in the US, once they start getting solid tax laws and regulations on the stuff, I think a lot of the problems I mentioned earlier will fix themselves. Honestly, this is very cool, and I do believe you and me will live long enough to one day witness a generation who grow up with weed being looked at the same way as alcohol. The way I see it, as the old generation of politicians and world leaders fades, the stigma surrounding weed will too. You can even see glimpses of it today, as a lot of politicians are using legal weed as a way to get your vote, which, you know, don't let that be your main motivation for voting for someone, but you know, it's a bonus.
10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality because the THC levels in this early cultivated Zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after when mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to Za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind so you could communicate with spirits. Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm. This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like, okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit. Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the Zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called Bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this Bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles. Disclaimer, that was a joke. Islam. Here the Za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the Za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date, there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US, via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 United States had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the Za to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what lightly sparked a comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican wheat plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the Za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. Reasons to get high. Now, before you call me a weed propagandist, this video isn't gonna be on some number 15. You woke up in the morning, or afternoon, or evening.
Fuck it, you're awake. Time to get obliterated.
Instead, we are going to be looking at actual solid reasons and situations you'll find yourself in which getting high will allow you to get and enjoy the full relaxed and faded effect of the Za. Cause believe it or not, depending on your mindset, where you are, and when you do it, it has a massive effect on if the high will have you laughing and chuckling or tweaking and suffering. Anyway, let's get it started with the most common good reason to get faded, and that is, you've had a great productive day and are ready to relax and unwind. I know this one might seem obvious to some, but believe me, it's not for a lot of people, cause as we know, the biggest debuff a lot of daily smokers experience is something called Za anxiety, which is like normal anxiety, but it just finished its training arc with King Kai and went Kaioken times 10 on your ass. And if you watch some of my other videos, you'd know that weed is just an amplifier of your already existing thoughts and feelings. So if you smoke up at a time where you got a bunch of unfinished business, the za has a very high chance of making you anxious, kinda like when legit loses his vape.
Yo, bro, this shit's an emergency. You see my vape? I know that bitch is here somewhere.
Nah, sorry, bro. I haven't seen it.
You straight. You straight. Just give me a couple hits off yours, we're good.
I would, but I don't have one anymore. I quit a couple weeks back.
My f***ing ass you did, bro. I don't care if that shit's burnt. Just let me take a hit off that bitch.
Nah, bro, I swear. I've been off it for a while now. It was tough, but...
Man, where's my vape at, bro?
Hey, what you doing, bro?
I know your ass has a vape. Trying to hide that from me. Empty your pockets, buddy.
Basically, all the unfinished business you have has a very high chance of turning into anxiety once you smoke that doozy. And the whole point of getting lit is to chill out and relax, not stress over your shit that you should have finished before lighting up, brah. Keep in mind though, this usually only happens to people who actually have goals in life and something to be anxious about. So if you've never got an anxiety like this and smoke regularly, then either you only ever blaze up at the perfect time, or might wanna, you know, maybe sell the PS5 and put down the Doritos for a while. Anyway, next reason is you're MIA, aka sick or injured for a while. Man, do I hate being hobbled to the point I turn into a couch potato and have to endure the torture of watching my friends go on adventures from afar like I was Professor X watching my X-Men have all the fun. But there is a secret upside to this as well, cause you see, usually you can't smoke up all day while doing the bare minimum and expect to actually enjoy your high because of the aforementioned anxiety that accompanies it. But when you've been forcefully demoted to local crippled man and the world along with your doctor is telling you to take a chill for a while, an opportunity comparable only to a childhood sick day emerges. Watch YouTube, play video games, and overall be a useless sack of potatoes, all while not feeling bad about it and staying heavily medicated. Cause I don't know about you, but in a situation where there is nothing to keep me sane except video games, movies, and my phone, why would I not be blasted 24/7? And the best part about it is, if you're dealing with a nasty injury like I have for the past 2 weeks, the Zaza can be used as a substitute for the damn opioid drugs these motherfucking doctors be prescribing you for the pain. I broke my pelvis and one of my vertebrae, and I was prescribed codeine. Yeah, the thing SoundCloud rappers be sipping, along with some other hardcore meds. So since I know popping pills all day for 2 weeks can't be much worse than smoking weed, I just chose the one that also makes being crippled a bit more enjoyable. But you know, obviously I'm not a doctor, so don't be just listening to what I say. Every injury is different and what worked for me might not for you. Anyway, next reason, you're hanging out with friends and don't want to drink and be hungover the next day. Would you believe me if I told you smoking weed is actually enjoyable at parties? I think some of you would, but the majority probably wouldn't. And there's a couple reasons for that. A big one that you gotta fix yourself would be that you get anxious when you're high around new people. But the other one I've heard countless times is that being high just makes me want to sit on the couch the whole time. And that can be true, but all you gotta do for that is fight the urge to be lazy, because I'm telling you from personal experience, one of the funnest high activities by far is blazing up with a friend at a party where everybody else is hammered. I just can't help but notice that everybody drunk turns into NPCs. I be sitting on the couch with the homie Salamander watching all these dudes doing their free assigned activities on some Pal World shit. I know this might make me look like a dick, but this one time we got high at this house party and chose this one alpha chat guy to just observe, and I kid you not, dude was like a Terraria villager, rotating between slamming shots with his friends, trying to spit game to the hoes, and comparing dick sizes with other dudes.
Ugh, that was some strong stuff.
Damn. Hey, yo guys, check out the Rizzler. Hey, what's up, beautiful? Having fun? Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to find my friend, bye.
Okay. Hey, Tony! Let's arm wrestle.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like doing those free things is unfun. All I'm trying to say is that when you're high, you realize the ridiculousness of what a party actually is and can just observe it with your high friend and banter away.
But there is a reason that trumps all others, a situation where it's near impossible to not get the full enjoyment of the gas. The best bang for buck you're gonna get when you trade a small percentage of your lung capacity and cardiovascular health for the fade.
And that's, of course, you have the CBD bro bomb. Okay, it's actually, you plan the smoke sesh ahead for a completely free day. I think some of you might have expected something a bit more extravagant, a bit more, I don't know, eye-opening. But no, unfortunately, there is no magic.
Number 1. Your homie discovered a crashed alien ship from which gained the knowledge of the universe and some otherworldly gas. Time to get absolutely shreked.
Cause I hate to break it to you, but if your homie ever tells you something like that, that universal knowledge is probably just the mushrooms he ate, and that otherworldly gas is referring to the moon rock he bought at the dispensary. And going and smoking with that friend, however much you like him, probably isn't a good reason, especially cause it's a Tuesday morning and, you know, you should probably go to work and maybe set up an intervention for him. Mans doesn't seem to be in a good place. Anyway, overusing psychedelics and ruining your life aside, the best reason to get high, in my opinion, is when you plan it ahead and have a mega sesh with your homies. This one is basically the same as the first reason, but even better because it combines both banter with your friends and the lowest chance of anxiety because the fade is planned ahead. Therefore, your brain already scheduled a server maintenance for that time, allowing you to drop IQ points without worrying about a situation arising where you need them. And it really is hard to beat lighting one up with the people you enjoy talking and listening to, cause although technically getting high will never be the best move you can make to achieve your goals and shit, if you smoke up for reasons such as listed in this video, I promise you, aside from the health implications it might have, the za won't affect your life negatively, but rather give you a break from your daily grind and make you slow down a bit to appreciate everything you have. Smoking alone. It's a lot different than smoking with a group because, well, you're alone, so it's exclusively your job to explore those high thoughts and piece together fun activities to enjoy the high. And if all goes well, you'll have a blast, scrolling shorts, playing games, watching movies, pondering the scale of the universe and how nothing actually matters. It's great! But it comes with a catch. You see, when you're with a group of friends, it's much easier to stay on subject and destroy the evil thoughts the grass might curse you with. So, in my experience, when I'm getting high alone, I usually smoke a bit less just cause being super mega high is 99% of the time best enjoyed with a group and not by yourself. Unfortunately, when I was a youngster, I hadn't discovered this. In fact, I accidentally got the highest I'd ever been up until that point. And the demons I faced that night made me who I am today. The story begins with a high schooler CBD bro who had planned a great adventure with the main homie Salamander and Ricky. Well, not a great adventure per se. We were gonna go to Salamander's place on Friday night and get absolutely obliterated off that Zaza. And for that, I had secured a whole gram of that exotic the Friday before. And although very tough, I fought the urge to blaze for a whole week just so we could demolish it all together in one night. And if you watch some of my older videos, you know Salamander had a bit of a funky home situation, so a lot of times his house was completely free, and this was supposed to be the case on this beautiful night as well. So you know your boy was excited as an 8-year-old on Christmas for this upcoming Friday night high extravaganza. But it all came crashing down when Salamander texted me, "Hey yo, my parents came home tonight and well, they found my bong, so I'm basically in the gulag now, so no smoke sesh tonight, nor probably the next night, nor, well, until they leave again. See you once I serve my time. LOL. A true tragedy. Our plans have been foiled by none other than Salamander's stinky old bong. I think you guys can see where this story is going. I had a whole gram of that fine exotic grass, and I've been holding myself back for a whole week in anticipation for the now cancelled high extravaganza. So here I was, standing in my shitty little dorm, filled with sorrow. I decided, screw it, I'ma just smoke alone. So I put my level 99 J-rolling skills to use, and after about 15 minutes of fumbling the spliff, I had done it. I rolled a J that was intended for free people, and headed outside to smoke it all by myself. After heading out, I went to my favorite park bench that was just outside the dormitory territory and started chipping away at the abomination I created. 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs. I was faded than a hoe, but nowhere near the fadedness I had been waiting for. I continued puffing away until I reached the halfway point and my mouth became drier than the Sahara Desert, bro. So I took a little break to try to figure out how high I truly was. As I stared into nothingness for a good minute, I felt my first person camera slowly pull away into third person, like I was in GTA 5 or something. And I have no shame in saying I didn't smoke the whole thing, cause I was starting to get a bit paranoid, so I took my half-smoked 1G spliff and headed back to my dorm. And bro, you know those creepy pictures that are creepy because they look familiar, like it's just a normal pic, but then you really look at them and realize they ain't normal? Yeah, well, that's how I felt when I walked through the hallway leading to my room. But anyway, once I got to my room, I was still feeling paranoid. Like, it was weird cause I had never felt that way before from Za, and I think that's just cause when you get high with others, you're kinda comforted by the fact that you're not alone in the feeling of being absolutely smacked out of your mind. Thankfully, I did find some comfort in my favorite platform, YouTube. So I started watching some good vibey videos and slowly snapped out of my paranoid state, but was instantly greeted with a new problem. An uncontrollable sensation that if not satisfied will drive you right back to where you started. I'm talking of course about the munchies. So I gathered my strength and started walking to the closest store, and once I arrived, well, I ain't even gonna lie, my wallet was at the mercy of the Itscbdbro. So basically every food item I saw, my brain went, bro, see those Twinkies? That shit looks bussin'. Yeah, I know, but it's $4 and I already got like $25 worth of stuff in my car.
Nah, bruh. Screw all that. You buy this fucking bag of Twinkies or I'm giving you a panic attack right here, right now, bro.
Okay, I'll buy the Twinkies.
Yeah, of course you will. Well, while you're at it, take that cheese sauce for the nachos too.
Okay, I will. After my brain finished ganking the shit out of my wallet, I went back to my room and started demolishing everything I bought. And after that whole munch sesh, I was feeling a lot less hot too, but also my stomach was a bit upset, so I took a massive dump, laid down on my bed, and started scrolling shorts. And I scrolled and scrolled until I passed out without even brushing my teeth and still in my clothes. So you can imagine the next day, I had a bit of a cush hangover, feeling like Shrek, haziness, and overall being slower mentally, but hey, no regrets, cause my brain wasn't lying about those Twinkies, god damn. Types of people you should never blaze with. If you've ever smoked with friends, you know being high with others can be a great time, and in a lot of ways much more fun than being high alone, but it can also be awful and cause Za anxiety if you're with the wrong group. So today we're gonna go over types of people you should never smoke up with, starting with the over-smoker. The over-smoker is someone who wants to hit that Benjamin way too much. Now don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old limit breaker sesh, but if you're the over-smoker, you never actually doing that. Cause your tolerance is so high, even if you grab the beehive-sized chunk of wax and dab the whole thing, you still stand there like, phew, I think I feel something. Another reason I really don't like blazing with these dudes is cause you can't ever really dive into a topic and enjoy the high, cause every 10 minutes you hear that,
Hey, let's do another hit.
like, what you mean, dog? We just did 3 hits in 30 minutes. I'm halfway fused with the couch, and your homie is in the corner explaining how the government controls us with tap water. We don't need another hit, bro. One positive this guy has, I guess, though, is he is always equipped with a ridiculous amount of Za. Dudes must get his shit from the same guy Gordon Ramsay was hitting up, cause it's always some damn exotic. Even so, their vibe ain't really one I fuck with, so if you're this guy, I'ma respectfully advise you to maybe consider taking a tea break or some, cause there is a point where it's too much. Unlike the next guy who doesn't even need any side to be annoying, and he is Mr. Paranoid. I think we've all gotten paranoid from the grass before, and that ain't nothing to be ashamed of, cause sometimes there really ain't nothing you can do. But the occasional paranoid episode ain't what this guy has. This dude, even before taking a rip, is talking about some, hey yo, you sure this ain't lace, right? No, what? This is the same stuff as last time, bro. Okay, that's good. Can you check if there's any cops around? Bro, there's no cops. We're in the fucking woods. Yeah, okay, but wait, before we smoke, let me check if this place is haunted. Man, what is this guy on? Like, bro, what do you mean haunted? This ain't Conjuring, bro. Why you always trying to set a negative vibe for everyone? But however much you assure my mans that no, it's okay, we're not about to be swatted on some Twitch streamer shit, his mind just can't seem to get over it. And worst part is, dude never tries to deal with his paranoid problems on his own. You can all be having a fun time talking about some GTA 6 leaks or something, and he'll just ruin it all with, hey yo guys, you hear that? Hear what? Bro, I swear, I just heard someone walking outside. So? It's a neighborhood. That's what people do. Yeah, but the window's open. He could have saw us all high. Yeah, but it ain't like you're gonna call the cops. Cops? There's cops? What? No, chill man, there's no cops. Nah, bruh. I think I'm greening out. I need some fresh air or something. Bro just decides, yup, I'm greening out now. Like, no, your personality is just very insecure, and you should probably get that figured out before you take another smack dabbly do off that Benjamin. Anyway, this guy ain't no fun to blaze with, cause he's very prone to ruining the vibe, so avoid at all costs. This next guy is more of a personal preference, so you might disagree with me, but for a guy I don't like getting high with is the grass NPC. I think we've all met one of these, whether you knew it at the time or not. This is the type of dude who lives, breathes, and of course, smokes grass. I mean, really, dudes physically can't talk about anything else for more than a minute, cause he has no goals or aspirations that stretch further than, I wanna get suited AF. Which, wanting to get suited ain't nothing bad. I mean, most of us here probably love bacon, but come on bro, at some point you gotta think about your life, your future, or I don't know, just something else than grass. Why I personally don't like hanging with a dude like this is cause his stories always are so centered around how high he was. I mean bro, I get it, you went to school high. Like at some point after hearing about the 78th time of dudes being high in class, you start to notice that man's actually has nothing interesting to say except,
Yeah, I was so gone when I was in math class. Yeah, bro, we went to the zoo and I was not on planet Earth.
like bro, when are you ever on planet Earth? And I find it hard to believe this guy, cause if you blazing so much, do you even feel high anymore? Like, don't you just get used to the feeling and it becomes normal? Anyway, don't be this guy. He ain't making it past level 1 of life, for real. Unless he like starts his own dispensary or something. Then it could work out very nicely, actually. But the next type of dude on the list is the guy that wants to be taken way too serious. I don't know if you guys ever talked to someone like this, but I have a couple times, and it's annoying AF. You know how when you blaze, you tend to go on rants and halfway lose your train of thought and then just end up saying, ah shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. And everyone laughs and moves on? Well, this dude is incapable of doing that. Instead, he holds the conversation hostage with his ramblings about inflation, Biden, Oprah, and James Cameron. And if you start trying to move on and talk about something else, dude sits there not listening and then 3 minutes later hits everyone with the,
Okay, so basically what I was trying to explain earlier was,
like bro, we already moved on and we're all freaking baked. No one even remembers their last sentence. How you gonna start expanding on your thoughts from ages ago like the MCU or something? Worst part is, however much you try to politely show him to stop ranting, he never gets the signs and just keeps doing it. Best thing you can do is just not invite him to the sesh, and you don't have to feel like a dick about it either, cause I'm 100% sure he understands the signs, but just ignores him cause he thinks his thoughts are more important than whatever the group wants to talk about. But the next dude on the list has a bit of a different problem, and he is Mr. I'm bored, I wanna do something. Oh snap, the guy who is somehow always bored and wants to do something. Now don't get me wrong, I love high adventures and I'm always down to go on one, but only if there's actually something cool in mind. Yeah, this is something this dude and me don't have in common, cause this mofo just spams the sentence,
I'm bored, let's go somewhere.
Like bro, where somewhere? Say where. My man just assumes anywhere is better than where he is, and honestly that gets annoying fast cause it makes you all self-conscious about if you're bored or not. And honestly a lot of times you might be, but that's just life. The grass ain't a freaking happy pill. Sometimes you're gonna smoke up and still feel bored. But how is that gonna change if we go outside? It's not like we living in Skyrim, bro. However sad it may be, you ain't finna open the door and see a mysterious bearded man waiting for you with a scroll in his hand saying,
Adventurer, we need you.
But hey, out of everybody on the list, I think this guy is the least bad, cause a lot of times the ZA makes mofos lazy AF, so it is good to have someone who can push the group into doing stuff. Just sometimes my man needs to chill out. Talking about,
Let's go to McDonald's, let's go to Burger King,
let's go, shh. Let's just shut the fuck up.
okay.
Although sometimes dude actually does have something in mind, which turns out to be pretty fun. So there ain't nothing bad with wanting to do something cool, just you don't have to parade the fact you're bored all the time, cause just by saying that, everybody is gonna feel like that even more.
Buying from the plug is always an experience, cause unless you're super tight with him, you never know if you're gonna get the leftover oregano Richie pack he scraped from the bottom of his grinder, or if you lucky and the RNG god smile upon you, you might just get the finest organic grass-fed grass there is on planet Earth. But alas, most plugs keep that quality stuff for only the loyalist of customers or new buyers. For me, it was the latter. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander. We had just gotten home from school on a Friday and had scraped our money together for a night of hitting the Spliffington and playing video games. Now, usually it was Salamander who secured the bag, cause I didn't really have too many connects. Unfortunately, this time he was unable to find the holy saw from his usual catalog of plugs. But we didn't let that discourage us, cause we knew if there is a will, there is a way. So both me and Salamander started hitting up everybody we knew who dabbled with the powers of the green
plant, and it wasn't looking too good. Altogether, we wrote about 10 people, half of which just ignored us, and the other half just said they were out. So, as we sat there on the couch, hope dwindling, sadness emerging, and worst of all, no Zaza approaching, we were about to call it a day, when one of the dudes who had initially ignored us sent out a beacon of light. Yeah, I know a guy. He just started plugging, so I can't vouch for the quality, but he definitely got some. Now, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you know it is one of the best feelings in the world when you've almost given up, but in the last second, you get that holy text of, yeah, how much? But even though we were pretty stoked, we were also a little bit wary, because this $20 we had saved up was the equivalent of 20 million in today's money, and because this guy was new and no info was given on the quality, we were scared of getting a bag of oregano. And I mean, at the time, we both thought all plugs are grueling gangsters ready to kill you on sight if you so much as make the wrong sound. So if it really was a bag of oregano, there was nothing we could do about it. Anyway, the time comes for us to meet up with this mysterious plug, and the instructions he gave us were to come to this rundown gas station's loading area in the back at 8 p.m. sharp. So we did. As we were standing there at 7:58 p.m., we could only imagine what vicious, heinous, devious killer would come to greet us. So yeah, we hyped him up a little too much, but all that mattered now was the grass and if it was good or not. We went through the usual plug dialogue options like, yo, what's up? Yeah bro, can't wait to get suited today. This that good, etc. Until he finally revealed the grass, and what I witnessed to this day I find absurd. The grass was golden. NANI? Not in like shiny gold, but it was this yellowish color with green accents. Beautiful. And the smell. Bro opened that bag up for us to sniff, but it was not necessary, as the smallest opening in that Ziploc baggie consumed the entire area with the finest fragrance imaginable. Oh, okay, well, finest is the wrong word probably. The shit smelled like cat piss, but that's a good thing with Zaza. So we gave up our $20 with no hesitation and returned to Salamander's place with this golden grass of the gods. Now, usually we would just roll up a spliff and consume the za like that, but as this seemed to be legendary material and we didn't want to waste even a single microgram, we made a makeshift can that would allow us to ration this gram to the maximum. So now it was time to hit the za, and it went something like this. Are you ready? Shit, you know it. Here goes nothing. You good, bro? Yeah, you gotta hit this shit, man. Hey, you good? You good, bro? You hear me? You good? Yeah, man, this is some good stuff. This shit was heavenly. It was not of this world, I swear. Now, I'm not sure if it was because our tolerance was pretty much zero at the time, or it was really grass descending from heaven. Probably a mix of both. But one thing I do know, that was the highest I had ever been up until that point. And well, as we know, when you were really high, you don't remember much the night after. So unfortunately, I don't know exactly what we talked about or what we did, but I do remember that we caught a major case of the Joker's laughing gas cause we found everything hilarious. We were so goddamn high, it took us a solid 20 minutes to navigate the PS4 menu to launch our game of Call of Duty. And when we did launch it, we were cognitively impaired. Felt like the controller was inverted or some shit. But safe to say, that Friday night we were truly blessed by the plug, and we went on to exclusively buy from that guy until he stopped plugging 1 month later. But he will always hold a special place in my heart as the plug of plugs. Plug, a holy being that will always be there for you, especially when you don't need him, and also occasionally when you do. And because I don't live in the fancy America, where all the big vloggers and TikTokers are, I still rely on the plug for my Zaza. But after years of buying from different plugs, I always wondered how much money do these guys actually make and what are the requirements to be successful in the profession? Well, finally, after the introduction of a new, scientifically enhanced type of grass, HHC, I kinda got the answer to these questions. And I'ma be honest with you, it ain't what I expected. As I said before, it all started with the introduction of the so-called new and improved ZA, HHC. And because it was new and regulations had not been set, even in my Stone Age country where an 18-year-old can buy a liter of vodka and drink himself to death, or just get hammered and get the sudden urge to call out the 6'5" undefeated heavyweight MMA fighter at the club because, well, when he sees red, bodies start dropping. Anyway, since this was legal and I am a law-abiding citizen who wouldn't even dare to jaywalk, I thought to myself, this is the perfect moment to see what being the plug is all about. Furthermore, because most dudes in this country don't know anything about strains, hash, bud, and just take whatever the plug has, I didn't need to worry about people thinking I scammed them. Also, your boy conducted a thorough inspection of this new product using only the most delicate and scientific tools possible. Oh, okay, I hit that shit through a Red Bull canning. It kicked pretty nicely, so I dubbed it Verified Lab. After securing half an ounce of the Verified Lab, which is 14 grams in European tongue, I went to work on finding customers. And obviously the best place to start is on Snapchat. So I took a picture of the Zaza with the caption, 15 bucks per gram, hit me up. Which is a steal, because, well, it sold for 20 a G here. And unfortunately, I only got one sale, cause I guess most of the people who I knew smoke Verified Lab were plugs themselves and knew of the existence of HHC and that it's like 6 bucks a gram. But I was still determined to flip them packs and make them racks, so I hit up the most trustworthy plug I knew who actually had people in his contacts who smoked Verified Lab, but were not in the business of trapping themselves. After a thorough business meeting where we may or may not have smoked the grass ourselves, he conducted that the gas I had was indeed worthy of the title Verified Lab, and offered to buy it all for 12 bucks a gram, which, I mean, I got it for 8.5, so I obviously said yes. At first I thought that was all. I made a nice profit of about 40 bucks and was feeling good. But after about 2 days, I got a message from the plug I conducted business with reading, "Bro, that shit sold out quick. Can you order more? I think I can actually sell this stuff for 25 a G, cause people want the same stuff real bad." Now, I think you are currently pondering two questions. Why didn't he just order more himself? And how the hell did these dudes not know it was HHC? Well, the reason he didn't order more himself is quite simple. He is a full-time OG plug, so dudes does not have a bank account to order stuff. And to answer the second question, I truly don't know. I couldn't really believe it myself, but I guess most stoners really don't give a fuck about news and staying up to date with it. In the words of the great plug himself, these dudes just wanna get as up as possible. They don't know nothing about no THC, HHC, CBD, BBC, NBA, MMA, nothing. Anyway, it all sounds great, right? Everybody loves the Verified Lab and are willing to pay premium for it. Plus, it's all technically legal and I don't even need to sell it myself. Well, it would have been, but there were two problems that made it a bit more sketch. You see, the issue with HHC is that it's a chemically produced product. All it actually is THC with a couple extra hydrogen molecules. And through thorough research, both practical and scientifical, I found out that HHC is very unstable in nature, meaning one patch of the same strain can truly be Verified Lab. But then the next patch made with the exact same ZA and same way could be some whack leftover Reggie. It's because it's very hard to control how well this hydrogen molecule binds to the THC, and not financially worth it to control the potency of each patch. So you could order that shit once and get some damn moon rock, or like the first experience I had with HHC, get some damn oregano. And the second problem was the plug I was conducting business with didn't want that risk all to himself, so I would have to cover the upfront costs of the HHC and then give it to him where he would hopefully flip it for 25 bucks a G, which I would receive 15 bucks a G and him 10. So here I was with quite the pickle of a conundrum. Should I order a whole ounce of HHC, which by buying an ounce you get the best price per gram, but I risk it being whack Reggie? Or should I just order a fourth, therefore lowering the risk of getting whack product, but also lowering the profit margins? And the conclusion I arrived at was the best of both worlds. I ordered half an ounce just like before. After receiving the good, I gave half of it to the trustworthy OG plug and waited for that passive income to roll in. But unfortunately, it was as I feared. The stuff I got this time was still good and solid, but it just wasn't the Verified Loud I received before. So the OG plug was having trouble marketing it it as premium za and lowered the price to the industry standard 20 bucks a G. But unfortunately, dudes were catching on as well, and some of them refused to buy the za cause they could just order it online. Like, yeah, you can, but wouldn't you rather buy from your friendly neighborhood plug? I guess not, cause after a couple days, the OG plug sent me another message. Yo, this stuff ain't moving like before, and people catching on about the origins. I have half of the stuff left. If you want, I'll buy it out for 10 bucks a G, or just return it to you. Which I hesitantly chose the first option, so I had him just buy it out. Yet there was still the issue of the 7 Gs or so I had left, which I initially planned on flipping, but was unfortunately unable to, cause mofos knew I got that shit for pennies compared to the asking price. So I did as all plugs would do and dubbed the leftover HHC as my personal stash, and just started blazing my own product, which was kinda stupid in hindsight because a couple weeks after, HHC was illegalized, as we all knew it would be, and became a rarity in the za industry. Which mofos started flipping that shit for 30 bucks a G, like goddamn, it ain't even that different from normal za. Anyway, by the end of it all, I made a bit under $100 in profit, or in another metric, about 10 Gs of za, which I smoked myself. So really the conclusion to my plugging experience was I got free grass, which was a bit underwhelming cause I was hoping to become the local Pablo Escobar, if you know what I mean. Moral of the story is don't get high off your own supply, or at least if you want to be a businessman. Oh, and also don't sell illegal things, cause well, this HHC was legal, so I could have technically flipped it on Facebook Marketplace or something.
Edibles, part of the holy trinity when it comes to getting as faded as humanly possible. And the reason they are so potent is that in the act of cooking the za, the THC transforms into something beyond its normal powers and becomes Super Saiyan za, or 11-hydroxy-THC, but let's stick to Super Saiyan cause that other name isn't really cool. Anyway, if you're an OG subscriber, you know my first time doing edibles was quite a crazy experience, but I wouldn't call it anything else than, yeah, I was really freaking high. But this time, the abominations we made were no mere first-timer dose. We threw everything we had in there. The day started like any other, except I had just gotten back from Barcelona the previous night and was a bit tired. But you see, there was this really cool movie in the cinema called Oppenheimer. Anyway, me and Rizix had planned to watch Oppenheimer in the cinema sometime before August, but being us, we obviously wanted to be baked during this time, and well, the movie was 3 hours long, so just a quick hit wasn't gonna cut it. So we decided on something we hadn't done in years, that obviously being edibles. The only problem was, we don't know how to manage time, and well, once we started actually making the things, the movie had already begun. But although I do love Cillian Murphy, let's be honest, the main part of this journey was the edibles, not Oppenheimer. So we were like, screw it, we only gonna miss like the first 30 minutes. Which if we had actually read some reviews on the movie, we would have known it's not something you go to 30 minutes late while bugging up the Zaza and the world's strongest edible. Yeah, we also, just for safe measures, smoked a bit before too. But anyway, once we made our abominations and the whole house was smelling like Snoop Dogg's beard, we sat down to eat these deep fried to get you deeply fried cookies. Ready? Ready. Bruh, they're so dry, man. Yeah, so they were awful in the taste department, but in the how messed up they gonna get you apartment, well, you'll find out soon enough. As I said earlier, just for safety, in case they were duds, we also smoked up a bit before, and we're feeling like medium-sized, cold on the kitchen counter pizza rolls, even before the cookies hit. As we arrived in the cinema, we were, well, a little bit scared, but also excited to find out what these monstrous things were going to do to us, because, well, we hadn't done edibles in ages, and knew our tolerance towards them was zero. After buying popcorn and a medium drink, we walked in the cinema, took our seats, and sat down to watch the movie, which had been going on for 40 minutes at that point, but we thought we could still enjoy it, and we did until... Bro, I could not stop laughing, and that's when I knew the edibles had hit. Now, up until this point, I consider myself a man of pure willpower and mental fortitude, and that there's no way some green plant was gonna get me bugging. And for the first 30 minutes after feeling them hit, it was true, until I got the ultimate disability the za can curse you with. I'm talking, of course, about manual breathing. I was sat in that cinema like a full-on tweaker, and bro, it did not feel good.
Like, however hard I tried to destroy the Super Saiyan saw with my mind, I just couldn't. And RizX was low-key tweaking too. Plus the movie, well, it was kinda shit. And before you roast me in the comments, I think Oppenheimer is a great movie. Just arriving 40 minutes late and bugging off Super Saiyan Za wasn't the best idea for a story-focused film. So we decided to get the fuck out of there. And bro, I don't even know how to describe what I felt and saw once we opened the gates to the outside world. Bro, I was feeling like my senses were turned up to 10,000% overdrive. And bruh, I'ma be honest, I was not seeing straight. So although we drove to the cinema, we were in no shape to drive back, so we just started paddling our demon-eyes looking butts home. Until at some point, we found some e-scooters, so we rented those and just started blasting away. And what an amazing time that was. Like, every switch of scenery felt like a brand new biome. Like, at some point, we took a little detour through a park, and bro, we felt like we was in a damn jungle. Like, even the slight rumble and turbulence we got from the road made it feel like we were true explorers on not e-scooters, but one of those safari exploring buggies, riding through unexplored wildland. But anyway, once we got back home, I decided to look in the mirror to see if I looked as high as I felt, and well, I looked more high. Like, I didn't even know your eyes can get that red, but there they were, looking like the eyes of the damn devil himself. As I looked in the mirror and saw nothing but an empty vessel wandering the wrong plane of existence staring back, I got a bit frightened, cause man, I swear, my reflection was not moving in sync with me yet again. But this time, it was even worse, cause I was like 4 times higher than I was when I first did edibles. So what happened next, you might be wondering? I was bugging out, looking like an uncooked steak, and I couldn't focus on anything longer than 1 second. Well, I went to sleep. Cause one good thing I will say about the trip, the comfortability I felt in my bed was unlike anything I've ever felt before. My blanket was just a perfect temperature, my mattress the perfect fit, and my pillow the perfect place to lay your head. And because of that, and I'm not exaggerating on this, the very second I closed my eyes, I was asleep. Well, not like deep sleep, but nap sleep. Anyway, after closing my eyes, in about 3 minutes, I was completely knocked out. And well, I slept so much like a baby, I actually believe the Za manipulated my very core and reverted my cells and body shape to that of when I was 3 months old, to enable me to get the full experience of sleeping like a baby. Only problem was though, as I woke up like literally 10 hours later, I was still high AF. Not like can't see straight high, but like just hit the BONG high. To be honest, I was just amazed, cause I knew if we had smoked that amount of Za we put in the cookies, we might have been really lit, but nothing like we were from the cookies. And after that day, I have now learned my lesson that actual strong edibles are more comparable to mushrooms than normal bud. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the fuck out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper plagiarism on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the Upside Down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking. Like, goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out, but instead all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dudes is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn, son, someone's gotta like the bet. bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one?
Bro. No. This is just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they're usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule. Accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them, just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the Benjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an Oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib. It was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I'll be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lord's loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander,
Yo, is that the spot? Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope.
oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where are you going?
What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys
guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, you guys want to do some ketamine?" Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that. Running out of za. Man, I swear, this phenomenon is always so unexpected. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, however long I plan ahead and try to time my grass running out, it always comes kicking in like the damn Kool-Aid man. I'll be out here the night before looking at the bottom of my grinder like, okay, I guess I gotta buy some more tomorrow. And then when the next day comes, I'll be all flabbergasted like, oh boy, nothing better than some good old za at the end of the day. What? This can't be. How have I ran out of za? I literally just had some yeah, shit. And now that you realize that you out of grass, you got 3 options. You either accept your fate and just go on with your night, hit up your plug, and get ready to lose out on your hard-earned money, or the legendary special down bad method I often do, empty out all your grinders, search through all your pockets, and scrape together one last hit so you can delay the buying of the za for one more day. But although I do this quite often, I don't recommend it, cause I swear, those scrape together hits are always some 20% plastic, 20% dust, 20% dirt smack dabbly doos. So every time I do hit that awful abomination of a bowl, it'll have me all paranoid about what the f did I just smoke like? Man, why that smell like burning plastic? Why am I not even high? Bro, why am I so lightheaded? Mom, I think I'm dying. Oh, basically what I'm saying is, scraping together hits from basically nothing isn't really the healthiest move you can make. But shit, hitting up the plug at the end of the day is a struggle in its own right. Cause I don't know why these damn plugs are always unavailable when you need them the most. Like Mr. Invisible could be spamming me all day with Snapchats like... But then later, when your hitman's up asking for some za, he disappears like the Avatar. Doesn't even open your messages. These plugs really don't care about us for real, man. Speaking of which, that reminds me of this one time when we ran out and had to travel through the whole of the ghetto version of Narnia just to get some za. It was just a normal day, well, night, where me, Salamander, and Ricky had planned to smoke some grass and just chill. And of course, Salamander, being the ultra reliable photographic memory dude he is, informed us that he def has enough grass for us all to enjoy at his place. So me and Ricky pull up, excited as you can be, only to arrive at the house and be informed, yo, what's good? Are you ready to get absolutely schmacked? She, of course, Phil, but what? Yeah, I just checked my room and, well, it turns out I don't have any grass. What do you mean you have no grass? You said you had a ton, bro. Yeah, I mean I did, but I kinda smoke it all. Man, what the... Why you gotta do us like that, bro? You got us all hyped for this, and now we're here in your mansion and you're telling us there's no grass? Like bro, I'm finna cry, for real, man. Yeah, bro, you're right, I'm sorry, I messed up. But don't worry, I already hit up Jimmy the plug god. We can drive there now.
Okay, sure, let's go.
So we go into Salamander's parents' car, which was sleek AF, and quite literally went to the bad part of town with it, feeling like some mafia bosses, for real. But once we arrived at Jimmy the Plug God's house, he was nowhere to be seen. And well, turns out, dude hadn't even texted Salamander back. He just had us come here in hopes that the time we arrived, he would. As we were sitting in the car, waiting for a good 15 minutes at that point, Salamander tells us the dude probably isn't gonna respond. But he already wrote another plug and he def gonna hook us up. So we drive to a new place where this time the plug was actually waiting for us. So we hopped out the car and walked towards him. Yo, what's good, bruh?
Yo, what's up?
So, do you got that Zaza?
Of course, yeah. Here it is.
Bro, is that 2 G's like I asked?
Yeah, it's just compact, you know, like a dime.
Bro, fuck off. If that's 2 G's, then prove it. What are you waiting for? Put it on the scale.
Nah, bro, I don't sell to people who don't trust me. Disrespectful AF.
Nah, bruh, disrespectful is trying to show the long-term customer in his hour of need. Keep your diamond to yourself, big dog. We outta here.
Yeah, whatever. See.
As our hopes were dwindling, we were in Salamander's car about to call it quits when the only plug that was exclusive to me and nobody else knew of finally responded to my message saying to meet up and that he got the za. So we go to yet another location in hopes that finally we would get our now well-deserved bag of grass. And once we arrived at the meetup spot, which was a pizza restaurant by the way, we parked the car and text Mr. Invisible that we're outside waiting for him. A good 10 minutes goes by with no response, so the overall mood is starting to get pretty gloomy as we quite literally have just driven around for hours trying to secure just a smidgen of za. And although we were truly experiencing a Gen Z 21st century Great Depression, we were saved with the text.
Oh, he responded.
Oh snap.
What'd he say, bro?
He said, yeah, coming out now.
Nice.
And this time, he actually did. Dudes came out with an apron, chef's hat, and the long-awaited bag. So I went there, and thankfully, it was actually 2 G's, not a diamond. And man, I ain't never been so glad for just a smidgen of za in my life, but can you blame me? I mean, this was a full-on journey, and although the time was like 11 PM at this point, we weren't too discouraged as we thought, screw it, let's pull an all-nighter, baby. So finally, after hours of waiting and talking to incompetent plugs, we arrived back at the mansion and did what we came there to do. Smoke a shit ton of grass, eat an unholy amount of munch, and wake up the next day feeling more hazy than a foggy morning. Which the highlight of the night was definitely when Salamander said he was gonna bake some magic cookies, but since we were already f***ed AF, dudes left them in the oven for like 3 hours. And then finally, when we had that oh shit, the cookies moment, we went there and found them completely burnt. But you know, we still ate them and well, they kinda worked, I think. I don't know. We were so blasted, we probably could have eaten some damn Oreos and thought ourselves more high because of it. So all in all, running out of za is for some reason always so unexpected. But I've learned to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. And although at the time driving around searching for grass was annoying AF, looking back at it, it was actually pretty fun. And the night was definitely more memorable because of it.
I think most of us have worked a minimum wage job, and the most easily accessible ones usually involve the flipping of the patty some way or another. Like, I'ma keep it $1.50 with you. If you ain't work at a gas station or fast food place and instead opted for something like a hotel admin or a waitress at a cafe or even a lifeguard, you really got off easy. Cause as a youngster, your parents usually make you work at least once to teach you about hard work and dedication. But if you were out here bathing under the sun and only occasionally waved your finger like, you can't do that cause I might actually have to work then with all due respect, you probably ain't been through the struggles most of us went through. I worked at a gas station for a couple months and that was my first work experience. But to be honest, the gas station and fast food place are pretty much the same cause besides from the gas, it's really a fast food place for when all the good food spots are closed and now you have to settle for the 24/7 microwave gas station grub. But I ain't even gonna cap, I love making food, especially if I don't have to wash the dishes later, and that was the case in the good old gas station. Well, what am I complaining about then?
Well, you see, the problem with all minimum wage jobs usually boil down to a misunderstanding between the manager or a person that's been working there for a long time and the guy who's there because his parents made him go or he couldn't find any other job. That's me. Because you see, in this world, some people actually believe that being a manager at some gas station makes you a successful individual with a firm hand whose commands must be obeyed. Or in my case, this bitch wasn't even the manager. In fact, she was working the same damn position I was. That being, do everything you're told and I'll pay you $10 an hour. Which really should be the title for every minimum wage job if you ask me. Anyway, although we were working the same position, she had been there for years. So, you know, she was teaching me the ways of the fine art of cleaning toilets, scrubbing floors, flipping burgers, and above all else, kissing every customer's ass. Which is fine. I knew what I signed up for and I took it like a man. Until I got to the end of my graveyard shift, and you know, I ain't even gonna front. I was being pretty lazy, or another way to say it, I was putting in minimum effort. But I mean, that's why it's called a minimum wage job, cause all you have to do is exert minimal effort, right? But this scallywag thought otherwise. There was 5 minutes left on my shift and she pulls up on me and asks me to stock the fridge. And in my head I'm thinking, why not? But I'll probably have to leave it half done anyway, cause my shift is almost over, baby. But then she hits me with the most stupid, hilarious, and kind of sad sentence I've heard in a long time. Once you stock the fridge, I might let you go home. Like, what do you mean, might? I don't know if you've checked our name badges, but yours is titled the same as mine, that being slave for $10 an hour. Like, don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to shame anyone who's worked or working minimum wage. It's a struggle out here and everybody needs dough, and minimum wage jobs are really the only option if you don't have a degree or special skills. But this lady, well, I say lady, but she was my age, in fact we went to the same middle school, was bucking off some straight exotic for mouthing those words into existence. Like, I don't know what she expected me to respond, like, "Ah yes, thank you for your kindness, I will see to it that it is done, your madam." But I just said, I don't know what you mean by that, but my shift is ending in 5 minutes, and I'm going to be leaving in 5 minutes. And to that, she didn't respond anything, cause deep in her heart, she must have known what she said was dumb AF. Now, what we can take from this experience is some people can't accept reality, and instead try to project a false one in their mind. For her, she had been working at that gas station for a while, and was probably starting to feel like kind of a loser, but instead of saying to herself, okay, I'm not doing so good right now, but I sure as hell ain't gonna stay like this. I'ma work on myself every day until I get where I wanna be. She took the easy way out and told herself, man, life hates me. It's so unfair. All I can do is take out my bitterness towards it in my work by being a total douche to everybody and acting like I own the place. No, wait, practically? I do own the place. Yeah, I'm the big dog around here. So yeah, don't be that guy, for the good of others and also yourself, cause if you let yourself fall to that place, you're gonna be that grumpy adult, talking about how life has always been against you and how everything is so unfair towards you. And I don't think any of you wanna be that. But that was just one of the gas station sweats I encountered, and she was a mere disciple. One with talent, yes, but it would be long until she could control her hatred. You see, there was another, one with much more control over her anger, but still working the same position. Yet alas, she hadn't been working there for a mere 2 years. No. 30 was the time of service for her. And she wasn't actually that mean, she just took her job way too serious. But I mean, I can't blame her because everybody needs purpose in this life, and if your calling is to clean toilets and make hot dogs, then, well, gosh darn, you gotta follow it. The only problem was, this woman was pushing this job onto me like I wanted to be there. Talking about if you wanna make it here, you gotta do this and that. Like, no, I don't wanna make it here, I wanna make it out of here. Got me thinking of how different people see the world, cause someone like myself could be watching 8 Mile and seeing the scenes where Eminem is working minimum wage and think, man, I know he gonna make it out of there. He Eminem, the king of rap. This is just temporary. But she was probably watching it and thinking, oh my god, how lucky he is to be there. If he keeps this up for a year or so, he'll get a promotion and make an extra $1 an hour. God damn. So yeah, it's all about perspective and the type of person you are, but I think the saying, shoot for the moon, cause even if you don't get there, you'll land among the stars, can really help a lot of people, especially if you are young. You should follow your dreams, however crazy they might seem, cause I promise you, it's quite hard to fail if you never give up. Also, working minimum wage is fine, and if you wanna take a job like that super serious, that's cool. Just don't force that same attitude onto other people, cause most dudes don't see a place like that as the end, but as a way to progress to the actual place they want to be. Oh, and I thought I'd shout out my Instagram again because I love reading the stuff you guys send me on the DMs. The messages sometimes really make my day, so feel free to write me anything. I usually always respond.